At first time, I think this disaster will not last too long time, so I didn't feel too afraid.
And as I returned back to Hangzhou Airport, it then struck me as I walked out into the airport, everybody was covered in PPE.
2 weeks in hotel quarantine was quite hard. The food was bad, couldn't get out, the windows couldn't really open. So 2 weeks was kind of not fun.
I know this place is secure. Like, nothing is going to happen to me as long as I am on campus, because I feel safe here.
The University of Nottingham Ningbo, China, first made the headlines back in 2004 when it opened its gates to become the first Sino-foreign university in China. When the COVID-19 coronavirus first hit the world's headlines in mid-January, almost all UNNC students had already departed campus for the Chinese spring break holidays. Most had returned to their towns and villages all over China, whereas many international students and staff were enjoying the break at home or on holiday.
So first term, really happy. Good campus, it's big, you have the facilities, you have the sports. I was generally happy, and then COVID-19 happened.
Students were leaving to go on vacation because it was Chinese New Year. But prior to that, this is a very lively campus. Students engage not just in teaching and learning in the library, we have a high street. So a big vibrant community. And actually coming back to something that was empty was a very strange sensation.
You'd see 1 or 2 people on the high street, and there would be like a major distance between you, almost 10 meters. So, you know, it was like automatic social distancing, right?
The coin really dropped at the beginning of February, because then you start to see things spreading to other provinces, and Zhejiang was one of the most affected. And then you start to think, looking into the future, what does it look like?
With the reopening of campus still a distant prospect, the full implications for teaching and learning were starting to hit home. An online solution appeared inevitable.
So we put together very quickly an alternative teaching working group to look at transition from face-to-face to online teaching before we commence our online teaching on the 2nd of March.
Oh my goodness, we're supposed to be starting our second semester in a couple of weeks' time. What are the tools? Zoom is much easier than Teams. Then we have a tool called Panopto that suddenly comes on the scene. And we've got a video studio on campus. Can we use that?
From scratch, we deliver the video platform called Panopto. We also implement Zoom for the synchronized session with interactions between academic and the students. So this is the 2 major system implementations to cope with the challenges of COVID-19.
These efforts were finally rewarded when the university was able to roll out online teaching at the start of March.
From art, social sciences, right through to engineering, everybody went online. So I was really impressed how our academic staff stood up and actually engaged in that place. I was also very impressed with the students as well, engaging in something that we'd not planned to do.
Definitely, the face-to-face teaching is better than online teaching because in the face-to-face teaching, we may have interact with teachers, but online teaching, I think, has a big advantage of is that it has a recording, so we can review it.
In the beginning, it was really not so good, because people were just adjusting to the technology, getting used to everything. And like by the end now, it has improved greatly.
By the middle of March, China had started to ease the lockdown, and the vexed question of the possible return of students to campus was mooted. However, conditions would be stringent, with many physical and procedural changes required.
Before students return, the university upgrades the campus access management system. The new system integrates UNC with Zhejiang Health Code platform, and we can identify the standards of health code in the real time when staff and students swipe their campus card. All classrooms have been allocated to maintain physical distance between staff and students, and also we provide hand sanitizers in all classrooms.
So you can see a difference of our furnitures. They are very flexible furnitures. For sure that it's for to keep the social distance among students, but also create the opportunity for students to study in group.
There are designated entrance and exit to all canteens during this period. And when we enter the canteen, we need to wash your hands and keep a distance of 1 meter at least when we are in a queue. We can see around here that the table is set for 2 students only with a screen in between to maintain physical distance as well.
In spite of these safeguards, not all were convinced about reopening the campus so soon after the lockdown. Was the campus safe, some asked, and could it handle a sudden return of students from all over China?
So to answer those both questions, yes, we're very safe on campus. And on the travelling aspect, working with government, the management we put in place to ensure the students from whatever province or whatever city got here safely was very well coordinated indeed.
I know that the students are safe, but their trip on the way back to the campus is dangerous for them and others because you don't know what's going to happen in between. And I understand there's been a lot of effort that's been done by the government, but even then, if you're not cautious enough, you might get infected on the way to campus.
With the return of students to campus purely voluntary, ensuring a quality learning experience for those choosing to stay away became a governing principle.
What's really important for us, you see this beautiful campus, people walking around, the interaction between staff and students. These are the experience we cannot replicate for off-site students. So then what we're trying to do is really to boost up the off-site learning experience through more interactive sessions, making sure that students have as much contact hours as possible with the teachers, making sure that they do not at any time felt disadvantaged or not achieving the learning outcome.
The time had come. With campus modifications made and even detailed practice drills performed, the green light was finally given for students to return.
So students came back 29th April, they started to come back. 26th April was the announcement, so we had 3 days to prepare. And boy, oh boy, that was a chaotic time.
We had temperature checks, they were looking at all our hospital papers, but I mean, we did 5 tests and yeah, so they let us in.
There was a lot of concern on social media, but the minute we did it and students started arriving back in campus, what a wonderful feeling and a wonderful sensation. And that noise around the concerns actually virtually disappeared overnight.
The return was to prove a great success, with some 6,000 of the university's 7,500 students returning to campus. The University of Nottingham, Ningbo, China had emerged from the COVID-19 lockdown with many valuable lessons and experiences.
Thank you.
We are put into a situation to try things that we would otherwise would not have the courage or the opportunity or the commitment of a staff knowing that we all have to move together forward in these very strange circumstances.
And so we've got our staff back, sometimes under duress, but we've got staff back. And that has given us a really different situation from a lot of other universities.
People want to be with people. Like our students here, our surveyors are out here doing the surveying as they've normally done. So the personal point, being together, is really important, but we have to do it in a safe environment, looking after the health and safety of our staff and students and their well-being.
We still have certain restrictions in our campus life, so we hope we can get continuous support and cooperation from all members of the UNC.
Because I'm also the year 4 student, so it's I think the last month I can stay here.
So what I learned from COVID-19 is can always be worse, and you just have to accept it and move on.
So to friends out there, who are still in the middle of this COVID-19, just want to say there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It might seem like there's a big hurdle that you have to jump through in terms of reopening, in terms of what to do next, but you'll get through it and we'll all come out of it much, much better.